For Blackwood, really what we are about is helping people live their lives to the full. So it's kind of whatever it takes. It's how people describe what they want in their own lives. And increasingly we found that if we think in new and different ways and use technology as part of that mix, that it really helps what we have in terms of what Blackwood can offer to people. So the way we use innovation and technology, particularly at the moment, is that we're asking people, our customers, people who live in our homes and some of our tenants, to help design the technology that they use. So they help with the design, and it means that we can then use what makes sense to them in helping deliver their service. It's really interesting. It has helped us learn things that we really didn't know before for both staff and customers, and in that sense it really feels very innovative in terms of us changing our own internal culture as well. Yeah, we've got, because as I say, our system is fundamentally about what works for people. So some of it started off at things like people working on what interested them, and it might have been things like music, like gardening, things that they were able to access information on the internet about and how they were able to use those. That moved on into the kind of devices that they use to be able to access quickly and easily. And for a lot of our people who have sometimes complex needs, we found that, for example, if we designed stylus with them, that meant that people who don't have full use of mobility of their hands, then they were absolutely able to do it for themselves. So that is one example, but there are many others at different levels, and it is always the small things that make a big difference to how motivated people are to use it. I think this is a really, really good time in Scotland to be doing this. There's major opportunities, and I think overall people are really beginning to get an understanding of the difference it can make. Not about replacing human skill, but about adding to that and getting people to put the right time into the right things. But is it all perfect? Probably far from it. One of the things that I think is just really important is that my background's housing, and I think that it's a lot more that could be done between housing, health and social care to understand at a neighbourhood level the kinds of things that might mean that technology enabled care could link with other aspects of technology enabled aspects of your home. So managing your heating, managing how you open and close curtains, managing safety and security. Those are things that do affect people's well-being. But if they're linked in more strongly to what we do in technology-enabled care, then I think that there's still a lot that could be done. I think one of the other ones that there probably could be quite a lot more mileage in is if we could get more work with primary care at local level in terms of understanding the vulnerability. I think that there's still more that could be done to help prevent people having to unnecessarily go into hospital, particularly in neighbourhoods where there are, say, housing associations working and have that wider role as well. And that's actually a real strength in Scotland. So I think we could tap into it more. I think two things. I think that they are a major opportunity, but it's not without challenges, and it can't be seen as a foregone conclusion that it'll come up with the right issues. In terms of Blackwood, we have tried to work in, partly through our professional sector in housing, to work into the strategic plans in at least a few of our areas, so that the kinds of issues, things like accessible housing, things like safety and working with Scottish Fire and Rescue Services are important in there and are seen as part of the priorities. But I think that the other aspect, there's a requirement for a housing contribution statement, and I think Blackwood and other housing organisations are working really hard at the moment to try and make that real and meaningful right across Scotland. And it's a big opportunity because it'll be signed off by the Chief Officer of each integration board, and that means that it should be important for people in health and social care to fully understand the housing contribution in their area and the difference it can make for the people that they serve too.